We are powerful, divine beings with incredible abilities. We are connected to source. We are connected to love. We are connected to this multidimensional existence that none of us have been operating in. Maybe some of us have operated a little bit, but not fully, because we've been so oppressed and we've been told for so long that we are weak, that we just need to follow what people tell us, that whatever they're telling us off the TV in there is truth, and you just need to sit down, shut your mouth, and listen. Whatever they're telling you in the universities is the truth. You just need to sit down, shut up, and listen. I mean, every single thing is saying that to us. We are being squeezed into this reality that is not real. All right, hi you guys. How are you doing? I'm Sharla. Thank you so much for joining me. I am wanting to do these broadcasts because I just feel like I cannot stand idly by while there is just so much going on. And I've been researching a lot of things for a long time. I've been doing this kind of introspective work and discovering a lot of things that have really blown my mind. So many, many years ago, I was looking into information about the powers that be, those that are controlling the world, that do not have our best interest in mind. And when the election happened in 2016, I didn't vote. I was not for either candidate, and I couldn't relate to either one. And I honestly just felt just disconnected from it all, and couldn't give my energy to either side. And then back in March, something happened where my eyes were opened, and I really started seeing the purpose in one of the candidates, and have since seen the integral mission and purpose that that candidate has in this entire takedown of, if you want to call it the cabal or the deep state. I don't know if I don't want to use all of these words. Unfortunately, many people who use these words or who start talking about this kind of thing get censored and get taken off of these platforms. So I want to try to be careful. I may use like DS and COB. Maybe I'll use those words so that the algorithms or whatever it is, the bots don't catch on to anything that I'm talking about. But I've had this channel up for a little while and haven't used it because I just didn't know where I wanted to take it. But the Awakening Revolution, really, it's an awakening revolution. It's about us waking up. And so I just did a live a few days ago talking all about the Revelation 12 sign that happened in the stars in 2017. You can see it here. There's everything that I want to talk about has to do with, there's so many prophecies from ancient texts, modern day prophecies that have been given out years ago that are now coming to fruition. There are signs in the heavens. This time period we are living in has been foretold. You cannot get away from that fact. There's so much pointing to that. And so it's exciting. It's a really exciting time that we are living in. This is a time that I really didn't know I would be on the earth to experience. And of course, it's not going to go the way that we think it is. It's not going to be the way that we think it's going to happen. But what I think is really important, first of all, is that we understand who we are, that we know what we are and who we are and the truth of our soul and why we are here. And if we don't know that, if we don't understand that to some extent, then we're going to feel very, very lost. We're not going to understand what's going on. Now, I really do believe in a few months here, all of us are going to understand a lot more just from what starts to come out. And it has been coming out for a very long time, but you've had to dig for it. I feel like there's going to be more of a mainstream understanding which is going to be very, very rough and very tough for many, many people to comprehend, to understand. There's going to be a lot of cognitive dissonance because what's been happening behind the scenes is atrocious. It's horrible and horrific. That's just what's been going on. Um, I quit reading my Bible there for a little bit. I come from a religious, or not necessarily, well, yeah, religious, but Christian fundamental background. And I left the church in 2003 because I was having an awakening of love, God being love. And so at that time, I was questioning so much, so many of the beliefs that I'd been fed all my life. A lot of it didn't make sense to me anymore because I knew that God being love, a lot of what I had taken on as belief systems just didn't fit in with that anymore. So I had to really go through this major transformation within myself to discover who God was. So I threw out a bunch of stuff. And then I healed. I healed up from all of my triggers, all of my things that I would get so charged by, because it truly, in the hands of the wrong people, that type of stuff can be really used against people. And so my time in the church, there were positive things, but there were also some very negative things. And I think God goes beyond the religions. God goes beyond any concepts, any constructs that we have created as man. God is infinite. God is the Alpha and the Omega. Absolutely everything comes from the source. So it's expansive. It's infinite. It's eternal, and we will always be learning more and more and more of what that is. And so I just recently have started reading a lot more in the Bible again because I'm not triggered by it anymore, and I'm not filtering it through my religious filter anymore. So I'm able to read it from a different perspective. And there's been a lot of eye-opening things in there, and seeing so much of what is talked about being for right now. So I'm not going to go into that on this live this time because I don't have any of the scriptures pulled up or anything that I would want to talk about. But I just say that to say we're living in incredible times. This is biblical times. And even in other religious text times, the Bhagavad Gita, the Kali Yuga is transitioning right now into another yuga, and it's marking the beginning of a new era. So I talk a lot about that new era in my last video that I did a few days ago, so you can go back and watch that, where I'm talking about going into the photon belt and what that all means. So we are ascending into a deeper truth. And how I'm seeing it right now is we are leaving an age and entering into a new age. So that's not, I'm not making that up. That truly is what's going on. We're entering into the age of Aquarius. Our solar system is moving into the age of Aquarius and leaving the age of Pisces. So Pisces means fish, and that's why Jesus was represented by the fish, because Jesus, Christ, is what we have been experiencing this whole past era, this whole past age. Jesus was born 2,000 years ago at the beginning of the age of Pisces, and we have gone through those lessons of Christ, of refinement, of forgiveness, of knowing who we are in Christ. Christ is our life. If then you were raised with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ is, sitting at the right hand of God. Set your mind on things above, not on things on the earth, for you died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is our life, appears, then you also will appear with him in glory. And so I believe that that's the second coming. That's who we are. This next age is, when Jesus came the first time, everybody thought that it would happen a certain way, that Jesus would come, would be the king, would sit on the throne and rule forever. That's not what happened. It was a totally different experience, and they were all perplexed by it and didn't understand it. And I think that's what's happening again. We are divine beings that are having a physical experience, and we are learning and remembering who we are again. So we are, as we enter into this new age, we're entering into the unknown. We're entering into a whole new phase of understanding of what this is, of what we are walking through. I read this thing on a website the other day that really made a lot of sense to me, and it said that in ancient times they viewed ages as a time period, a time that is like you have the beginning of the age, you have the energy and the exercise of what you learn and what's going on, and then you have the harvest of souls at the end. And that is what's happening right now. We are going through this process, and whatever that harvest of souls looks like, I don't know. I don't know what that looks like, but we are being put through the pressure chamber. We are being pressed through the birth canal right now, which feels very hard and very confusing and dark, but it is being used to set us free from so much that we didn't even know that we were in bondage to. This is hard for me because of the intensity of everything happening. It's difficult for me to talk about a lot of these things. There's a lot of illusion, there's a lot of delusion, there's a lot of deception going on, primarily with the MSM mainstream media. And it's difficult to stand up for the truth right now because of all the attack, this energy that's been created, this monster, this beast that's been created. And it's really amazing to me that all what that machine is doing and creating is exactly what they're blaming the incumbent president for, which could not be further from the truth. So there's a picture that's being painted right now in the media that is causing us to view everything a certain way. If you don't leave that mainstream mentality and idea, you're going to be lost. You're going to be believing lies. You're being lied to right now. And it's not going to be easy because you're not able to see what actually is happening. For those people that have dug deeper and gone deeper to find out the truth of what's actually been going on, we're able to watch from that awareness perspective and go through it. And so what's about to fall and what's about to come out into the public is not going to be surprising. We've been prepared for that. So that's another reason why I just wanted to come on, because I want to help people understand it's important that we become aware, because what's getting ready to come crashing down is going to shock the world. We are going to be so freaking just sideswiped if you have not already been doing the digging. And you've got to see through this lie, because why in the world would there be fact checkers all of a sudden, starting in 2017 or whenever it was? I think I started seeing them. Why in the world would there be so much censorship? Why in the world would there be this machine that is starting to take control of the narrative in order to only put one narrative out there on the mainstream? That in itself should show us what the actual truth is, because it should show us what isn't the truth. Censorship of free speech is never the truth. Okay, whatever it, I mean, the people that are controlling that, what their narrative is not the truth. You can know that for sure. So you have to go searching. What are they censoring? What are they not wanting me to see? What are the things that are being hidden from me? And why would they want to hide those things from me? There's a good reason for that. And it goes back to what I started off with, which I know I've gone a big run around here, but it starts off with knowing how powerful we are. We are powerful divine beings with incredible abilities. We are connected to source. We are connected to love. We are connected to this multidimensional existence that none of us have been operating in. Maybe some of us have operated a little bit, but not fully, because we've been so oppressed and we've been told for so long that we are weak, that we are that we just need to follow what people tell us, that whatever they're telling us off the TV in there is truth, and you just need to sit down, shut your mouth, and listen. Whatever they're telling you in the universities is the truth. You just need to sit down, shut up, and listen. I mean, every single thing is saying that to us. We are being squeezed into this reality that is not real. And what is real is this freedom, is this incredible expanse of spirit that has the potential to do amazing things and to live an amazing life. We are incredible creators, created in the image of the Creator. That's what that means. We are creators as well. And we need to learn our abilities, and we need to realize that there are powers that have been at work for centuries in this world that have not wanted us to step into that. And so they implement, the pesticides that dull down our pineal glands. They implement the V word that rhymes with Maxine. All of those toxins that are put into our system dull down the pineal gland. What is the pineal gland? It is your receptor to spirit. It actually has characteristics of an eye. That's why it's called the third eye. They're believing now that it is actually the central area that is where your consciousness abides, and how you see visions and dreams, and how you see into the spirit realm. So if that is dulled down, if that is, being compromised, you cannot then live the life here in that we're really here to live. We're going to become robots and just going through the motions and being just these, powerless beings, and could not be further from the truth from what we truly are. There's a long history of this type of oppression, and I think they've just been getting better and better and better at it, to where there's been points in time in history where they have been able to get a bigger stronghold. And you just look at the presidents of our day, of our age, that actually were working to get rid of those powers. And what happened to them? Well, two of them were JFK and Abraham Lincoln. They were assassinated. These powers that be do not want to be found out. They don't want to come into the light. They don't want us to see them. They don't want us to know they exist. They are the faceless beings in the dark, in the shadows, that are running things. So I do want to play this one video I think would be helpful. It's from someone that I follow. Actually, I'll start here. I'll go ahead and start these because it might be helpful to you. So there are some players that have been put into office. So what you have to understand too is that we have not been in charge of our elections for a very long time. This is not the first time that this has been overtaken. We're just now exposing it. We gratefully have had a person from the outside of this whole monster system, beast system, that has come out from the outside and has been calling it out. And there are speeches that the incumbent has put out there. I mean, you probably haven't even heard them if you've been listening to the mainstream media, but he talked all about this, exposing all of this from a very, very early stage, even before he was the president. But there have been really the past many presidents have been controlled, bought and sold, blackmailed by these powers that lurk in the shadows and pretty much control the entire world. And so they have been doing the agenda for these, for the DS.
Of its founders.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
What sort of a financial deal should Obama be seeking to strike when he travels to China next month?
No, I think this would be the time, because you really need to bring China into the creation of a new world order, financial world order. They are kind of reluctant members of the IMF. They play along.
Okay, so I'm going to bring in this other video here just to give a little bit more background to what this NWO is. Because one thing that they do is they try to make it look really good. It's all humanitarian. It's for the benefit of others. Listen, if you want to take over the world, you don't just have some crazy guy that gets in office that just doesn't know what he's doing and tries to be a dictator. That's not how that happens. So anyone accusing the incumbent of doing that kind of thing is ridiculous. And he's not even crazy. He's a genius. So you would have to not watch the mainstream again to find that out. See everything, all the amazing, wonderful things that he's done. To know that this is his sole purpose and reason for being in office is to take this down. And it's had to happen in a very strategic way. So they've been working on it for many, many years, ever since JFK's death, which was, back in the 60s. They've been working on this plan to take this down. It's been very strategic, very well thought out, a genius plan. And they're doing an amazing, unbelievable job. So I want you to see this, because this is a video from, what's his name? Joseph Anthony. And he lays out a little bit of a background here, really, really short. I mean, it's so complex. What they do is they basically put people in office all over in important areas. So in the UN, there are actually 6 Chinese nationalists that control 6 different departments in the UN. They put people into office in different countries that will do their bidding. This is how they've done it. They've done it extremely strategically. That's why we have had to do it very strategically to bring them down. So just go ahead and watch this part here.
And so they're plotting, this is in their own words, plotting to do away with money as we know it. And so this is, one of the themes that are that's going on, but I want to show you how it's tied in. These are the main power sources of the world. The Vatican City, City of London, Washington, D.C. All 3 of these are separate states, completely independent of their respective countries. Now, this is the trinity of global power. Now, this is the big one right here, Washington, D.C. Notice military. Now, one of these candidates seems to be an outsider that's come in and is shaking up this establishment. Okay, I think you have an idea who I'm talking about. And so this guy is definitely connected to all of this in some way. He knows all the players and whatnot. But there is a major operation going on behind the scenes, and military is the key here. This is one of the groups, if you want to research it, the Bilderberg Group or the Club of Bilderberg. This is a secret organization that's been, every year they get together to discuss how they're going to control the world. This is not me saying this. This is years of research, and please research this for yourself. This is the real power structure of the world. Okay, these are the groups that run the planet. If you research the members, you will see the same people that are in the same groups. These are unelected individuals that seem to be running the show. I'm sure many of you heard it. The Trilateral Commission, Club of Rome, Bilderberg Group, United Nations, and this one in particular, the Council on Foreign Relations. And I'm going to focus on that and show you why
this is a huge, huge ordeal that we're in right now with the recent shenanigans that are happening. What you have to understand is that nothing happens by chance. There are staged events that go on. This is not new. This has been happening for decades, and probably even longer, but I know for sure in the past decades, because if you do your research, you can find all of these groups, like what he was showing there, these groups that are unelected people, but they rule underneath the people we think we are electing. Okay, this is why the incumbent right now is working tirelessly to expose this FR word that rhymes with mod, to expose it, because it's been going on for a very long time. This isn't the first time this has happened. This is how they do this. This is happening in multiple countries all over the world. This is how they get the people into office that they want in office in order to control things the way that they want it to be controlled. And these people, the depravity of this group goes so deep. It goes back to, it does go back to cults, to an extraterrestrial influence. And I'm not going to go into that on this either, because that's just opening a big can of worms. But we are multidimensional beings, like I said in the beginning. We are living in a multidimensional world. So what they've used is to try to hide who we are so that we are easily controlled. And when you start to wake up to your true self, you start to see through the facade. You start to see through that matrix that is not reality. We are much more powerful than we could ever imagine. It's talked about in so many religious texts all over the place. I mean, Indian gurus, if you go read true Indian gurus, you will hear stories of miracles, of doing things that are beyond our understanding. Why? Because we are divine, multidimensional beings that have this incredible technology, the best technology ever, within us. We don't need AI. We don't need to become AI, beings that are hybrids. We have that power within us. We have this incredible technology and power within us. So that is what we are. I think I'm going to bring it to a close. Thank you for listening. This is not an easy topic for me to talk about. It's been something that I have been sitting on for many years and just, knowing about it myself and learning about it myself. And I haven't really come out and shared too much about it because of the backlash, which is another tactic. And also, if you go study communism, study these groups, how do they do this? They don't do it overtly. They do it very under the radar, okay? And that's what's happened, because they want people's cooperation. They want us to be begging for them to take over. That's what they're doing here. And that's not going to happen. We've had, gratefully, thankfully, a divine intervention and of a group of people that have come to purposely take down these world powers that cannot continue to wreak havoc on our lives, creating wars, funding both sides of wars. I mean, the list just goes on and on. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And we're just so desensitized and used to living in a world of chaos that we don't have another paradigm for that. But we are having a paradigm shift right now. We are awakening right now. We are the awakening revolution. And that is what this revolution is. It's about us waking up to the truth of who we are, and we are going to prevail and be victorious. It may be in the 11th hour, but it's happening. And that's who we are. So it's very, very exciting. I hope you all are already on the bandwagon or will jump on it. And I do meditations and music on my other channel, Sharla Ember. And this channel is going to be just for conversation, dialogue. But if you want some more meditative practices to help you get in tune with the truth of who you are and let go of all the fear, let go of all the stuff that holds you back from continuing to move forward, the worst thing that we can do is be complacent and be stagnant and turn a blind eye just because, we don't want to see. We have to see. The dark places have to be exposed. They have to come into the light. That is the principle. The principle of life is death and resurrection. We have to allow those things in us to die that do not line up with the truth in order for us to resurrect into the truth of who we are and awaken to the light. So thank you so much for being here. I will see you next time.